If you enjoy listening to inspirational stories from people just like us, facing the fear and doing it anyway, then you're in the right place. My name is Claire Hill, and this is the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. Hello, welcome to No Rest for the Vivid. I am Claire Hill, founder of the Vivid Club membership, CEO of Vivid Wire, and all-round fun-time gal. I do try and make these introductions exciting. I've just come back from 2 days in Manchester with Josie and Charlotte, the Money Mavens, who have been on this podcast. Absolutely amazing, mind-blowing couple of days. I think the energy expanded my brain so much, and the possibilities of what I can achieve so much. Today I've had a massive vulnerability hangover. Oh my lord, it's been massive, as well as being really exhausted. My journey, it was my amazing mother-in-law's 70th on Sunday, so I couldn't go up on Sunday night. So I left my hometown at 5 o'clock in the morning Monday. I went straight into the event and did all of that. Got there about 10 in the morning. Anyway, lots of travelling. And then yesterday did the second day and come back late. So worth it though. Though I packed so much stuff. I have no idea. I literally didn't use 3/4 of what is in my bag. It was so heavy. So I've hurt my shoulder, my hands, let me get the violins out. Oh, I can't, my hands hurt, blah, blah, blah. So I really do need to learn to pack lighter. I think I was feeling nervous. I was, socialising with business women that were, I suppose, a bigger deal than me. Well, they are a bigger deal than me. So, well, that's what I thought anyway before I was going up there. To give myself a bit of credit, I'm kind of a big deal too, as some say. I feel like a bit of a cock saying that. I'm still in my vulnerability hangover. But I've literally, today was near enough a complete write-off. So I'm recording this, I think it's about 8 o'clock at night, while my husband is at the gym. I have the baby monitor for my 4-year-old. I don't know why we still have a baby monitor actually, but we do. It's like a walkie-talkie and we chat to him. But so if he starts coughing, spluttering or something, I'll just pause the recording and edit it out. So I don't know why I'm even telling you. Today I was supposed to be talking to you about vision, strategy and planning. But I wanted to do a follow-on from my last long solo episode about Warrior Energy and talk about it in a little more, because if you listen to this and you haven't got a business, this episode is so relatable. Well, not necessarily relatable, but you can apply it to your everyday life. A lot of what I teach you can apply to your everyday life. You don't actually have to have a business, and I know that because I've got a life coach client and I just literally help her with her life. And she's bloody smashing it. I know you're probably listening. And she really is. I'm very proud of her. But these, Warrior Energy and having a Warrior Energy Toolkit, it is... If I didn't have a business, I still would be doing this stuff. I would still be working on my Warrior Energy and having the toolkit. So, and the reason for this, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. The other week, we went round a friend's house, and I'm not drinking at the moment. I'm in 2 minds whether to drink again. I'm going to do 3 months. So I'm gonna not drink until the end of March. And I'll be absolutely 100% honest with you, right into your ears right now. It is, if I drink again, it will be because... No, actually, that's unfair. I was going to say it will be because of the fact it's easier for other people if I drink. But actually, I do really love beer. However, I did have a non-alcoholic beer at the weekend, and it was rather nice, and I did enjoy it. which I forgot about that. So I might actually get some non-alcoholic beers. But I love the taste of beer, and I love an espresso martini. I found a recipe for a non-alcoholic espresso martini, so I'm going to try that. But I don't really want to drink alcohol again. And I don't know, and I think really the reason why that is because of my mental health, and making sure I am looking after myself in the best possible way. And I see now that I deserve that. I think before, and if you are listening to this and you're one of my friends, you know how I have abused alcohol in the past, where I will get absolutely twatted. And not in a fun way, in a, oh God way, The amount of times I've been out with my husband and we've got a taxi home, pulled over and had to be sick out the side door loads of times. And or really hungover the next day, or started a row when I'm drunk or tipsy. I don't even have to be drunk. This is the thing. This is another reason why I'm not drinking at the moment, because I don't have to have a lot. I don't have to be drunk for me to not have my mindset in check. And that's what it is. And I think that if you're listening to this and you have survived any kind of trauma, if it's similar to my story, I'm let me know. But with the way that the trauma what's the word? See, I'm getting all over my words because I'm getting vulnerable. But the trauma I experienced when I was younger, it impacted my mental health in a way that I can be quite destructive, like self-destructive. And because of trying to control my self-worth, like, am I worth anything? If I'm not worth something to somebody who I'm supposed to be worth, and one day I will tell all about that, but if I'm not worth, so what am I worth to anyone? If that makes any sense, I'm literally talking, I'm not making any sense, forgetting that I'm actually recording a podcast. But if I'm, I'm learning that I'm worth something. And there's been something that I did last year in 2022 that I was really, really proud of, that I can't, again, really talk about. And it is out of respect for the people that are involved. That's why I don't talk about it. It's just respect. But having boundaries to protect my self-worth and my mental health is like, it's like switching a light on. And I've realised I'm really fun when I'm not drinking. I'm actually more fun if I'm not drunk, because I'm not, there's no chance of me going into a dark day because I've got everything in check. Or, I am able to have the energy to keep everything in check so that I don't risk it. And though this wasn't really the theme of this podcast, I wanted to talk about this day that I had a couple of weeks ago. Or a couple of weeks ago, I think. And the feeling of control, I can have like a couple, I suppose, if I'm really feeling safe. But where I don't have that foundation of safety that's built into me because of what happened when I was a kid, I can just topple quite easily. And it's the self-destruction. It's like pushing a button, and when I was younger you could see me push the button and then I would just be a nightmare. I'm just so proud of myself, and I've just literally created a reel about, and I'm going to post it tomorrow morning, about showing off. And I'm going to show off. I'm so freaking proud of myself for having, it's not even not drinking, it's having the awareness that I don't need to drink to be a better person. Whereas my whole life I'm like, well, no one's going to like me unless I'm drunk. No one's going to like me. I'm not that much fun when I'm not drinking. I'm really fun when I'm not drinking. I actually love myself more when I'm not drunk. Isn't that the point? You've got to love yourself more. How can I support myself to love myself more? Not drink. So I've basically talked myself into being sober for the rest of the time. But I'm really lucky actually, because I bumped into a friend in my local shopping centre, and I used to be really, really good friends with him, and he actually only lives around the corner, and we had this big conversation about the fact that he's sober now, and he's been sober for it must be about 5, coming up for 6 months, and it's like he's a bit of like my sponsor, I suppose, but I'm not like, he's not a sponsor, but I suppose it's just support, and I suppose that's what a sponsor is, isn't it? And he was like, just do 3 months, do an experiment. You don't have to be sober forever, but thinking I'm going to be sober forever is really, really overwhelming. So just do 3 months and see how you feel. And last time I did it, from August to October, I did just under 2 months. And I stopped drinking because it was I started drinking again because it was mine and my husband's wedding anniversary, and we love Thailand and we love Chang beer. We went to our local Thai restaurant, had Chang beer, it was amazing, but then I started a row with him. Silly, really silly. But that is what self-destruction is. That's what self-sabotage is. And if you haven't got that awareness around your behaviours, it's really, 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 really difficult. And I'm just proud that I'm starting to be able to separate myself, or look at my behaviours objectively, for me to go, do you know what, Claire, you're better than this. You are better than this. You can look after yourself a little bit better. So, do it. So that's what I'm doing. So anyway, we'd gone to a friend's house. I'd driven, and it was really fun. It was so much fun. The whole night was so much fun, and I'd driven. I was like, I'm onto a winner here. Playing Beyonce out the car window like I'm 18. Yes, love it. Love it. It was such a good evening. But Jackson, my son, was staying with Nan and Grandpa, my husband's mother and father. La 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 la. But they live on the corner of our road. Love them so much. I often talk about them. And so he was staying there. So my husband, so kind of him, let me have a lay-in. And I slept till like 9:45. Oh my God. No, not slept that long since I had COVID. And I was isolated and not being allowed near anyone. And but it set me off wonky. And wonky is the word I describe the days when I am clinging on. Now, and if any of you listening now have ever, again, this is my personal experience. I am not a trauma expert, but I do know that I deliver trauma-informed support, and that I can teach you in a way that you're going to be able to retain it if you've experienced trauma. So I'm an expert in trauma-informed support and education, 100%, but I'm not an expert in trauma. And that's where therapy, counsellors, psychotherapists is a good pathway to go to. So if you need more understanding about that, go for that. But if you've done that work and you're like, I just want to learn, I just want to have a better life now, then I'm the person for you. But if you've experienced that, it's like you're carrying scars around it with you. And scars never go away, they're still there, but you just learn to handle them better. And some days, if I don't wake up with an alarm, or I wake up, or if I have too much sleep, it's usually those things. And this is why it doesn't really happen anymore, because I've got a 4-year-old. But and I get up early and everything. But on this day, I woke up wonky. And the whole day, it felt like my whole body was made of tissue paper. And that I was just hanging on by a thread, my whole brain everything was just tissue paper, and I was trying to hold it in all the time, just holding my form, trying to keep strong and just keep in Claire shape without falling apart. It was exhausting. The whole day was exhausting. And I felt dreadful. I felt so dreadful. But out of everything like that, I was exactly where I needed to be, and everything was happening exactly as it should, because it's created this podcast episode. And I think I can help people with what happened that day, because usually if I have a day like that, I'm like, it's fine, It's fine. I'm absolutely fine. Crying in the corner. Oh my God. Why does no one love me? Why did all that shit happen to me? Blah, blah, blah. Get the victim violins out. And I will have a massive pity party of how dreadful my childhood was, right? But this time was different because I've done so much work since the last time it was really bad like this. And by the way, as well, it would last for like God knows how many days, and I managed to like snap out of this in a day. So the first thing I did was recognise immediately. I could just feel the shift in myself. I was like, oh, I'm wonky. Right. What do I need to do? Warrior Energy Toolkit. It was literally the first thing I thought. Okay, right. What do I need to do? Okay, I need to listen to my songs. I felt so unmotivated that I couldn't even put Spotify on. So the songs actually came a bit later, but I did manage to get myself in the shower. So I managed to do that. And then I thought, I'm going to have to put some colour on my face. I'm going to have to put makeup on. The effort it took for me to put makeup on, I can't even tell you. It's so funny how the mental energy that you need to use to do a simple task when you feel like that. It's incredible, isn't it? So I was like, right, I'll put my makeup on. Yep, great. Hair, great. Okay, I'm not enjoying my hair. I feel like my anxiety's coming back. Like I was getting really anxious. I thought I was going to have a panic attack about my hair. This is what happens. So wonky. I was like, right, sit on the floor. I was like trying to ground myself. So I was like, sit on the floor. Just take 5 deep breaths, like really. And then I was like, right, how do I feel? 5 isn't enough, right? Another 5. But I was like planting my hands on the floor, crossing my legs. By that point, my husband had gone and picked Jackson up and he was home. And I was like, shit. Okay, Jackson's here now. And I don't actually hide it if I'm like this because I want him to see that I get myself better and that I don't want to tell him all the ins and outs necessarily of what's happened, but I do want him to understand that something, because it's part of me, like something happened, like lots of things happen, but it's part of me, and I can't be, if I'm ashamed of it, then he's going to think that he should be ashamed if something bad happens to him and he feels shit about it or feels, sad, or I don't want him to ever feel shame. I never, ever, ever, ever. I thought I was gonna cry then, but I never ever want him to feel shame because that's the destruction. That's the destructive bit. That's the bit where you hurt yourself through self-sabotage or worse because you are carrying that shame. But you shouldn't be feeling ashamed. This is why I'm getting upset or getting emotional because that's where my development and my progress has really changed because I'm like, I'm not going to be ashamed. I'm not a victim. I'm a warrior. I survived. I'm really fucking proud of my survival and that I'm here. I'm doing what I'm doing and I've got what I've got and how hard I've really freaking worked for it. Really fucking worked hard for everything I have. And this is the thing, I appreciate it. So I'm really proud of that. I'm a warrior and I've survived all of it. So I am never going to be ashamed anymore. So I share it with him to show my strength, I suppose. So I don't tell him the details at the moment because he's 4. But on this day, he came home and I went downstairs and my husband looked at me and he was like, you're not all right? I was like, I'm wonky. And he was like, okay. And Jackson was like, what's going on? And I just literally started bawling my eyes out. And I just went over to Dan and Jackson and just went, I'm wonky, I need help. Just need help. And Dan was like, right, okay, what can I do? I was like, I just need to be hugged really tight. Sometimes it's like a sensory thing. If anyone else has done that, like sometimes I do it to myself in the day. I'll hug myself. It's like a sensory like input. And it really helps me. It's like the same as like I was saying, like sitting on the floor and grounding myself was really helping. So I just said, like, I just need to be hugged really tight. So then Dan said to Jackson, right, Jackson, we've got to cuddle mummy really, really tightly. And they were just cuddling me. And I was sobbing and I was like, right, deep breaths. Okay. I've rode that wave because the whole day you're like on a roller coaster. I was like, okay, all right. And Jackson was like, are you all right, mummy? I was like, yep. Just a bit wonky today, but mummy will be all right because mummy knows how to handle it. So by that point, I was like, right, I'm a bit more motivated now. I'll listen to my Warrior Energy playlist. I need to move somewhere. So I was like moving around the house. I didn't have enough motivation to go out, but I didn't want to. I knew that if I sat down, I'd start to feel worse again. So I was like, just doing I call them dog jobs. I've no idea why I call them dog jobs, but I do. Like simple things that give you a little hit of dopamine or endorphins or whatever. I think it's dopamine. So I like tidy the tins so they all face the same way. I like wipe the kitchen sides down. Shove things in drawers so I can't see them anymore. Fold tea towels. Fold towels. Pair socks. You know, shit things. Shit tiny little jobs that mount up to something you're like, oh, I've achieved. I've just sorted those socks out. No one needed them doing, but I've done them. Well, it's definitely the tins. Who tidies tins? I always think about that film with Julia Roberts, Sleeping with the Enemy. And she's opening the cupboard and all the tins are all aligned. Oh, I'm not like that. It's just a way to help me feel good and motivated. So I did that. I didn't have the motivation for meditation. That rhymed. And then luckily, we had my niece's birthday party. So I turned up and I was like, right, we've got to go and do this. And again, I felt like I was hanging on to a thread. I was like, just keep deep. And I could feel that I kept holding my breath, but I was like, deep breaths in and out. I did some writing. Again, really, I did the writing at nearly the end of the day, actually, because I just, again, didn't have the motivation. But I'm so glad I forced myself out because... And I think I ate some really healthy food as well. Because when you feel like that, all you want is McDonald's, don't you? But I was like, no, I'm going to have some cucumber. I might have a pickled onion. But all of these, like, I don't even know if pickled onions are healthy. But, you know, thinking of the things, like, it's the mental energy that you have to expend, if that's a word. Expel? It's the mental energy you have to use to do those things that totally exhaust you. So by the end of the day, I turned up to my niece's birthday and my sister was like, oh my God, are you all right? I was like, no, I'm wonky today. And she was like, okay, all right, what can I do? I was like, I'm okay, I'm just holding on. I was like, literally like, I felt like if I smiled, everything would fall apart, I'd just start crying. So I was just like straight-faced. If you've watched any videos of me, like me having a straight face is like basically saying, are you the Pope? I literally always have lots of expression in my face. I am shit at lying. And my face says far too much. If I don't like you, you know straight away. But on these days, it was just straight. I was like, yeah, I'm really wonky. Oh, okay. I'm going to get a coffee. Yeah, okay, babe. All right. And then I just went and got a coffee, had a little bit. But then there was some music. And I was like, I'm going to have to dance. So I started dancing with some 7-year-olds. Like just moving my hips. And by the end of that, actually, I felt a lot better. But then I went home and I said to Dan, my husband, I was like, I'm going to go and write. He was like, yep, okay. And then I think I'd even contemplated working that day. I'd planned to do some kind of work. I was like, sacking that off. I am going to just be okay. I think actually I did have to do a bit of work, but it was just like, right, I'm just going to just take some deep breaths. I'm going to get myself ready for bed, watch a film with Dan and go to sleep. And tomorrow I'm getting up really early with an alarm and I know I'll be all right. Because again, part of my Warrior Energy Toolkit is doing those, getting up early. If I get up early, I'm already like, yes, Vid. That's what people call, that's my nickname. Everyone calls me Vid, but obviously my name is Claire. That's where Vivid comes from, by the way, everybody, if you don't know that. But sometimes if I'm celebrating, I call myself Vid. And then if I'm having a talking to, I'm Claire. You know, you just call yourself these names. But I was like, yeah, if I get up at 5 a.m, I feel motivated, even though it's really hard. It's not easy getting up at 5 a.m, but once you've done a difficult thing and you've managed it, the rest of the day is like, well, I think I got up at 5. I'm proud of myself. You know, those little things, like I get up, get started, and I think I went and did some writing, and yeah, managed to, that day I was back in the room. I felt brilliant. If I didn't have my Warrior Energy Toolkit, I don't think I would have been able to handle that as well as I did. And it's so important to have, for like, I believe it's really important to have that toolkit ready, especially if you know that you are susceptible to wonky days. Then that's, you need a toolkit where if you have a wonky day, you're like, right, I know that I'm going to get really tired, but I'm going to get my checklist out and I'm going to tick things off. I mean, even if I just tick one thing off, I'm going to put that timer on. I'm going to apply the 1% factor, because I'm worth fighting through this. I'm worth looking after myself and get myself back on track. And I think that's, for me, I'm worth doing that for. That's where that self-worth comes from. I'm worth pushing myself, even though I'm going to be exhausted, to not curl up in a ball if I know how to not curl up in a ball. You know what I mean? So if you haven't already, just think, what could you do? What could be in your Warrior Energy Toolkit? What could you add to your daily habits that become the keys to unlocking those doors of better days? Because it really does work. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for wherever the ideas of this Warrior Energy Toolkit came from. Whatever I picked up for me to get it into place and start doing it and then to share it, I'm so grateful, because it's transformed my life. And Warrior Energy Toolkit has transformed my life more than anything. Any book I've read, any training I've ever done, any coaching I've ever done, anything. It has transformed how I see myself and how I love myself. That is so important, especially if you've gone through any kind of horrible experience. You deserve it. So that is today's episode. Please, if that resonates and you think, yeah, that's bang on, please let me know, because sometimes I talk into this microphone and I really hope it can change someone's day. That's why you do a podcast, isn't it? You just hope that something in your brain or some experience that you have can help people. And because I wish I'd listened to an episode of this podcast, 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Think of my mental health 4 years ago. Oh, dreadful. But then it started getting better. But that's where Vivid Wire was born, my other business, in that mix of feeling so out of control and so powerless with how my body was after having a baby and breastfeeding and having a baby. All of those things, if I'd had a Warrior Energy Toolkit then, I would have been able to handle those days a lot better. But I don't know why I said but. Just let me know if you found it useful, and if you haven't already, Stephen Bartlett's got statistics about how many people subscribe to the podcast. I haven't got statistics. I don't understand my statistics. My analytics, I don't know. I know how many plays I have on each episode. I don't know. I think I'm looking at the wrong thing. But anyway, but please, if you're listening on Spotify, press the heart button. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, press the little plus sign on the top right hand corner. Follow the podcast. It does so much for the reach of the podcast. And share it. Just tell your friends. Send a link to your friends. Send a link. If you've got a friend that goes a bit wonky sometimes, send her this episode and just go, I've got you, babe. Look, you need a Warrior Energy Toolkit. Here you go. Share it. I literally spend my life sharing podcast episodes. You know what? I should probably share mine more. But if I find a nugget of gold, I share it and share it and share it. So please share it and tell everybody about it. Follow me on Instagram. Oh, I've changed my name on Instagram, but so I've got to go through all of the every single one of the show notes of all 78 episodes. I think it's 78 or is it 79? Yeah, all of those episodes, and change my Instagram to I am Claire Hill. And I felt really empowered when I did that, because I realised I've got a new habit of writing the book. The first draft of the book is going to be ready by the end of March. It's actually going to be ready on the 15th of March. That's my target. And then the edits start, and the edits will take me 6 weeks at least. And so the book will be finished by the end of May. And then I've got to do my book proposal. I'm doing it the other way around, and I feel like that's much better for me. Then I'll do my book proposal, and then I'm going to get it out to a book agent and publishing houses and stuff. But my promise to myself is every single day I write 500 words, and I've managed it so far for the last week. Feels freaking amazing doing that. It's like I've made a promise to myself and I'm committed to it, and that adds to your self-worth. And I can't remember the point of me telling you about the book, but I'm just really proud of that. So I'm going to show off about that. I'm going to show off that I've got a plan for the book, and it's going to get done this year. Oh my God. I'm writing a book. Jesus. I'm almost halfway through, which blows my mind. And it's going to be it's going to be really cool. I'm really proud of the idea of it. And I actually told some people about it over the last 2 days, and they were like, that's a really good idea. I was like, yeah, I know. I actually know it's a good idea. I think that the clarity of it has made me want to write more, so that's good. But yeah, please tell everybody. Oh, that was it. That's why I changed my Instagram to I am Claire Hill, because on the front of my book it won't say the Vivid Club, it will say Claire Hill. So I've changed that over, and I think it just brings clarity to what I provide. And I've got some meetings about making the business into a group or something. I'll be honest, I don't really understand all of that. That's why you get the experts in. But basically, I will have Vivid Wire is still, obviously, Vivid Wire is going nowhere, because I just love wire art so much. I'd be a fool to give that up. And then I'll have, I've got Project Warrior Boss. Project Warrior Boss, by the way, everybody. Oh my God, it's got spaces. I'm starting it again on the 30th of January week. Some point in that week, just once we get a few more members, then I like to say, right, what day of the week is best for you? Because you have to meet every week for 20 weeks. So I'm really, really excited. 2 amazing warriors. They are amazing women. They are really amazing women. So I'm so excited to have them on the programme. So I've got 4 spaces left, and doors close on the 29th. I haven't started hard selling yet. It was supposed to start today, but it was a write-off because I'm so tired. So that starts big time on, well, probably tomorrow. But yeah, I'm so excited, because I know that there are 4 people out there, and another 4 people. I'm going to change their life with Project Warrior Boss. It's amazing, so amazing. But I'll have Project Warrior Boss, which I run like 2 to 3 times a year. I don't know when I'm going to run the next one, actually. And then got the Vivid Club membership, and then my one-to-one coaching, and then obviously my training courses. And I just feel that the Vivid Club membership is a part of that. So me saying I am Claire Hill, this is what I provide, just really empowered me. I tried to get Claire Hill and actually message their woman and go, who has Claire Hill, like, she doesn't even use Instagram. How frustrating. But I'm exactly where I need to be. Can't be frustrated about it, really. But I messaged her saying, oh, look, I'm a wire artist. Do you fancy some vouchers if you give me Claire Hill Instagram handle? But she never got back to me, and I was hanging around. So I am Claire Hill. That's my thing. I am Claire Hill. You can find me at I am Claire Hill on Instagram. Easy peasy. So yeah, if you just let me know if it resonates, leave a review, rate and review, would love it. Honestly, it takes a couple of seconds, it doesn't take hardly any time at all, and it makes such a difference to this podcast. It's amazing. Right, I'm going to head off. I hope you found this useful, and because I'm probably going to have an extra bit of vulnerability hangover now. for sharing all of this, but I hope it was useful. And take care of yourself. Get your Warrior Energy Toolkit in place. Speak to you soon. Thank you so much for listening to the No Rest for the Vivid podcast, written, produced and hosted by Claire Hill, and music has been composed by my brother Phil Vidler.